All right. So again, welcome to the call family. Today is Sunday, so we may not be hopping directly into any markets or any pairs just at the moment. These are going to be some potential setups that we do see playing out. So again, make sure you got some pen, paper, take notes of all of these setups, right? I do have the call recorded for YouTube, so you will be able to check that out as well. But other than that, let's go ahead and dive straight into it, looking at all the potential setups that I can see playing out over the course of the week, right? So, we are still in GU longs, right? This was a setup that was given to you last week to take GU longs at 20775. All right, 1.20775. Market did go up about 80 pips, started to retrace a little bit, but I do still have confidence that this market can and will continue to go on its bullish trend. All right. Reason being is just due to looking at the higher time frame. Obviously, we had a low right here that got taken out. All right. So as this low got taken out to make this peak low down here, we see the market actually reverses, right, and makes a new high. As this high breaks this previous high, that told me that the market structure had actually shifted. All right. So even though the market did retrace all of this distance, as long as it's still maintaining between this low and this high, the market is still in an uptrend, right? Based off the higher time frame. Can you take trades in the opposite direction? Yes. But again, we do want to make sure we're in alignment with the higher time frame. So that way we know where the main pivot points of the market are. We can understand that even if you are selling, you should have an idea of where selling is going to stop and where the buying should continue. All right. So we are in longs down here. I do see the market continuing. Here's one or two options that can happen though. All right. Obviously I want this low to hold because that's where me and the community have all gotten into our positions. But I'm always open and I'm always looking at the market, not from a personal opinion perspective, but just a probability perspective, right? Because personally, I want this thing to continue to shoot up, right? But realistically, there's a couple different things that can happen. The market has started to go up since we did clear, all right, liquidity over here in that high to the left. There is the potential for some bearishness to come into play. So even if bearishness does happen, right, I will just be looking for another minor sweep of this low here and for the market to continue. Now, the only reason I see that that could possibly happen is because since this is such a big buy that I'm planning on, have play out, we're looking at, about 270 pips, 300 pips on the upside, bare minimum, right? And with that said, sometimes those areas of interest can take a little time to actually, gather the strength that it needs. So in the occasion that we do come back to revisit these lows, I would keep an eye on 1.207. All right, 1.207. That's one way that anybody that is not in it could possibly get back in it. Whenever I see like a point of interest over here, over here we see we do have this sell to buy candle over to the left. And when we have these areas of demand, sometimes the market will tap into it more than once. So obviously right here is the first tap. Obviously, the market can go straight to the moon off of the first tap, but there are those times where the market wants to come back into that area of interest, into that area of demand just one more time before it accumulates enough to go bullish long term, just over the span of this area of accumulation, right? So that is one option. Okay. I am at least hoping that we reach our 100 pip take profit. If you are in the position, obviously, I told you guys, 100 pips is pretty big for a TP1. So I wouldn't, hold it against you whatsoever if you decided to partial out of that trade just a little bit, just so that way you don't have to wait. And, obviously the weekend had came and stuff like that. So at the end of the day, I do still have a take profit at 21775. That is one option, right? Another option that I see is for the market to continue from where it is right now, right? So obviously, just looking at this time frame right here, we have a low here that we came and cleared out. Then we broke above to make new highs. All right. Now, as the market retraces, we came back into an area of minor demand, which could allow the market to continue to go bullish. So we had a couple options here. And the reason why I do give you a couple options is because at the end of the day, you got to take risks, guys, right? There's not going to be one entry every single time that plays out perfectly. But again, if you have enough upside, you can afford to take a loss or two, or three just before you even find the main setup that you're taking. I tell my team all the time, make sure you're risking accordingly that protects you from loss, right? Because obviously we're going to take jabs at the market. We're going to take opportunities that present themselves, and win or lose, right? The right opportunity is going to cover your losses, right? So I do give you, this potential opportunity right here for that exact reason, because again, there is the possibility that the market comes here, reacts, and then continues just off of this continuation play right here. But overall, I am expecting bullishness on GU one way or another, where we come back and visit the lows, or if we just continue from this lower time frame order block right there. All right. So I will just take a quick peek at the DXY just before I go into all the pairs, just so we can see a few things. Now, just with that, I'm expecting more bearishness on the DXY, which is primarily the reason why I do want to see GU continue bullish. Because if I just come out here, we did come into this area of supply over here. All right. So as we pushed into this area of supply, you'll notice how we did clear out some of those, highs that are like low laying fruit, right? So obviously we have a high right here that pushes down to make a new low, all right? So although the market came and made some highs right here, we still got to realize that there is supply over here resting to the left. And as the market comes and fulfills that supply, the market is beginning to go bearish now, all right? Now, I'm not saying that the market is going to come down and make a lower low, because at the end of the day, I do see that there is a lot of demand within this candle. But at the end of the day, until we come back down and fill out the demand that's in this area, I have really no other choice but to think that we're bearish for the time being, right? And this is the reason why you got to be able to understand trends within trends and trade in between these major areas of supply and demand, because when you're on the higher time frames, it could take a while for things to play out. And you could have a whole week or two of opportunity while you're waiting for the higher time frame to line back up. So if you're only executing off of the 4 hour and the daily, understand that it can take a week or two, maybe even longer sometimes, for the market to reach that point of interest. But you can be trading throughout that entire time if you understand multi-time frame analysis. All right. So just come here to the 1 hour. As we see, we do get rejections out of these highs, and we do get this minor sweep of liquidity. And it is small. It's not a huge sweep whatsoever, which is primarily the reason why I do think the market will return bullish eventually. Because when you have these tiny sweeps of liquidity that you can barely even recognize unless you zoom all the way in on the chart, a lot of times these tiny sweeps of the high like this will be just enough for the market to retrace. But at the same time, the market will eventually reverse, because on the higher time frame, these still appear to be relative equal highs, right? So I'll show you guys what I mean by that. If I'm right here, for example, on the 4 hour chart, it's easy to overlook the fact that we captured liquidity in these highs. So if you, like I say, if you have to really zoom in just to identify it, that's probably going to be just more of a reaction high and not a peak high. When I say reaction high, I think it'll just cause the market to retrace, okay? And as the market retraces back down, eventually we will come back to take that high out again. So again, I'm not necessarily sold on the fact that that high will cause the market to drop all the way down to 105, 0.35 or nothing like that. Okay. If it does, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. But again, that's a higher time frame perspective. So now that I'm on, let's just come to the 15. All right, as we come to the 15, we see we have highs here, here, and here. All right, which we actually came to take out. And as we take out those highs, we took them out to make new lows, okay, which is pivotal. We clear highs in order to make new lows, or we broke previous lows here. So essentially, this is the high of my trading range, and this is the low of my trading range. So now I'm just looking for the market to retrace back into areas of supply, because this is a supply, because this is a high that pushes down to a new low. So understanding that this is an area of supply, I am anticipating further bearishness on this particular pair. All right. Now, where is it that we might target? I see this low as a for sure target, with the potential of even going a little bit lower right here to like 105.8 area. Okay. 105.8 around that area. So I do expect some bearishness at least to come down to 106.13, 106 point, let's just say 15 to get you guys a easy number to remember. At least 106.15. But we do have the potential to drop to 105.8 as well. All right. So I am looking for some short-term bearishness that should allow GU to continue bullish. All right. So with that being said, again, that is what's validating this bullishness on that pair for me. All right. So let me just come back to my favorites real quick. Take a quick look at Nas. So Nas, for example, I was expecting a little sell-off. The market did shoot up a little higher than my intended zone. Obviously, I explain this to guys. I explain this to you guys all the time. Where we have a couple options for a setup. Either you're gonna respect the high, or you're gonna slightly overshoot it, right? So obviously, initially, this is the high that I wanted to be respected. We did slightly overshoot it and then come back down. So overall, the direction is still solid, in my opinion, of what it is that we're expecting. I just drew up way over here where I said we would actually come back down to the 14,000. Let's just say is 14,055, right? $14,055, right? I want us to come back down to that area right there and then continue bullish, because similarly to GU, I like the overall direction, but I don't like the low that much, right? So whenever I have questions about the low that I'm taking a trade from, I'll essentially allow the market to come take that low one more time, so that way it can gather more strength, right? Sometimes we want the market to reverse right away without giving it time that it needs to actually accumulate the way that it wants to. So again, I do believe that this market is going to go bullish. I just wouldn't buy it from here, right? So, if I don't feel confident in my re-entry opportunity, I'm going to wait for that initial low where the buying started to get cleared out. So what it is that I could see here, and pretty much it just tells me that I'm still bearish on the lower time frames, looking for the best bullish entry. Okay. So just based off of the lower time frame here, I am bearish for now. Okay. Not bearish for for very much longer, but I am bearish for now. Um, if I do come down just to these lower time frames, I see there's a lot of buying that took place right here, and it's resting directly over this area of imbalance. All right. So again, the market buys here and then sells, right? So remember how mitigation and stuff works. We still have a buy order here, okay? And now the market is in draw. Now this buy is in drawdown. So we want to see the market come back to close the buyout completely and mitigate that position before it continues bearish, right? So that is one opportunity. I don't typically like going for the breaker block type of trade setups, just because I feel like they're more, it's just kind of open to a lot of, misinterpretation, I would say. All right. I feel like sometimes it works out perfectly. Sometimes you see it perfectly. Sometimes, it can get you caught up when, you should be looking for another area to trade. All right. So with that being said, I do see this potentially falling from here, especially with the market just creating a series of, equal highs. Okay. Look here. The market is obviously rejecting that high multiple times. So if we could just come clear it nicely, I'm pretty sure we could probably get that continuation down. Best case scenario, I will wait for a steeper retracement and then sell off. However, the only reason why I am open to this more shallow retracement is because as I look to the left, I don't see any candles that I would just love to take a sell off of. Really, the only one I see is this one here because there does have some imbalance within it. So the, buy to sell candle here with a little bit of imbalance here. On top of that, we do have some weak highs right there. So that is probably the only other option that I see for the sales. It is counter trend. So if you just want to stick to one trade setup, I get it. So even if you were to take it down here, maybe if you just have a slightly bigger stop loss. I personally don't like the trade that way, but I know some people have different risk to reward, than I do. The main objective that I'm saying is that some way, somehow, I do believe that we're going to sell back down here. So however you want to execute that position, it may be different for different people, different strokes for different folks. But at the end of the day, I am looking for, this level to get taken out. Once we're underneath 14,060, right? Underneath there, I'll start looking to get long. Primarily I want to get in at about 14,055. All right. And then once we get down here, I'm anticipating the market to reverse and start buying up again. All right. So I do just look at this as a slight little pause on the market. We manipulate these highs. So we're in this area of consolidation. I want to see manipulation, then this continuation right here. Once that continuation finishes, once we actually clear these lows, I should expect some profit taking on the sell side. As the sales start to take profit, that will give strength for the buys to step back in and to take the market back up. All right. So long-term bullish, short-term bearish on Nas 100. All right. Once we get that, I do believe we can go bullish for a little bit of time. All right. I don't think we're going to keep going bearish that much longer. We did clear out this low over here to the left. So that does give me reason to believe that, there is some accumulation taking place right now. Like, because once we actually take out these lows, you got to realize there's certain areas where, certain things mean certain things. So it's not even, what is happening, but it's also where is it happening, right? The fact that this market is rejecting and it's no longer going bearish, right? It is trying to start going bullish. That's a key indicator. And then the fact that it's happening underneath this low all the way over to the left, back all the way from May 30th, May 31st. All right. Then on top of that, we do have a area of imbalance right here also. Okay. So we have all of these things lining up in our favor that could tell us again that the market wants to go bullish somehow. I just believe that we will come and clear that low again so that low can have more strength, because when that happens now, we have like that strong W pattern, right? And that's what our strong lows look like. So we have a low here, and the market comes up, then we make a slightly lower low before going up. You know, some people look at it as a W, some people look at it as a double bottom. But at the end of the day, what's important to realize is that the second low is lower than the first one, and that's where the strength comes from. All right. So if you are somebody that just looks for W's and M's and W's, just add that little tweak to your arsenal. And I feel like that'll help your consistency out a whole lot. Just understanding, is the second arch or the second, valley, is it lower than the first one? And if so, that can be something that helps you out a whole lot. All right, guys. So far as GCAD is concerned, we never quite got our retracement to get into this position. Missed this initial one down here. And then I wanted a retracement back into this sell to buy candle here, which we never got. So had a couple missed opportunities on GCAD. And that's just bound to happen, guys. When you have your strategy, you have your strategy. And the thing is, you can take trades otherwise, but you want to be able to trade with a duplicatable process, right? I don't like chasing these markets. I don't like getting in uncomfortable areas because it drastically affects my risk to reward. So even if that causes me to miss out on certain setups, it's okay. There's other pairs that you can trade. You don't have to be in every market every single day. The key is to consistently execute the same way. So if I'm giving myself wiggle room to execute in a different way, that's going to only affect me in the long run, because I'm not going to have that unison in the way that I take trade positions. All right. So, that one just got away from us. I don't really have a setup on GCAD at the moment. So we'll just keep it pushing. All right. Gold was another example of, our edge just barely not playing out. Wanted the market to go bullish. I was looking to get in underneath 17 or 1976 0.6, like around that area. I wanted to get in underneath there. You see the market just barely missed it and then took off. So this is again just one of those situations where you could be frustrated about it, but it does happen, and maybe you adjust your trading approach a little differently. For me, I'm not attached to the position. So it's like I'm not going to sit here and, rewrite the whole book on how I execute just because I miss a couple trades here and there. It's bound to happen. But it's just one of those things that sometimes it's hard to avoid, because sometimes it plays out. And then if you switch your trading approach and then your initial edge starts playing out, now you're leaving money on the table. So it happens, guys. I just missed that one by a couple pips. We'll come back, live to trade another day. It's all good. But so far as gold is concerned, I'm looking at gold the same way I was looking at GU essentially. I would like to see a nice solid retracement, and just for us to continue at this point. I am looking for any opportunities to get in, just because gold has been so bullish as of late. Past few weeks, it's just been on a rocket. I'm kind of mad I closed my position out. We got in way down here. And I did end up closing my position at like 900 pips. Now it's up over 2,000 from that initial entry. So, or just about 2,000, not quite. But, it happens. We all learning how to hold and do stuff a little differently. I'm primarily an intraday trader, scalper to intraday trader. So, holding the trade that long got a little uncomfortable for me, but now in hindsight, I realize that's probably the best thing to do. But now, as I see what the market is doing now, easy to pretty much identify that we had an old high that got broken. So now, essentially, I'm looking at the low that caused the break of structure, right? That broke above the previous high. So the high that caused it is the high that has the demand inside of it, right? So if we can somehow get back to this area here, I would love to take more entries on it, right? Because, maybe it's the war, maybe it's a few other things, but gold is extremely bullish right now. I'm just going to go over to the higher time frame just to see how far we could really go. I mean, I see new highs personally. I wouldn't be surprised to see us come and break these highs over here. Those aren't necessarily all-time highs, but they are new highs for the year, especially, right? So, yeah, those actually would be all-time highs. So, yeah, I'm looking for gold to make some all-time highs, guys. Once we get up above, you know, 2080, I feel like that will be a point where we could possibly get a big retracement. Because when you got to think, when you make an all-time highs, you are in uncharted territory, right? So even as people that invest in gold in general, when it comes to buying low and selling high, there's no higher point of previous history that you could even analyze. This once we get up above these highs, that would be the highest point that we've ever reached. So with that being said, I think it's safe to say at that point that, as we reach new highs, I think it's safe to say that you could probably look for some profit taking from, not just day traders, but just investors all over the world. We'll probably get some decent profit taking that'll cause a nice retracement. But until we get to that point, I can't take no sell on gold. I attempted one and it played out a little bit, honestly. It actually dropped like 200 pips, like on a news spike, but it was so quick that I wasn't able to like really benefit from it. So just with that being said, just moving forward, I'm gonna just allow the market to continue to go bullish until it truly breaks those fresh highs. All right. So again, go back to the lower time frame. I'll show you guys where I'm looking for re-entries. But other than that, that's the only option that I see. All right. So if we can come back to 1985, around there, right? Let's just say we come back to 1985. We come back to 1985. I do think you got an opportunity right there. Again, setups and trade setups can play out a multitude of different ways. I tell this to the community all the time because, again, trade signals and the way they actually play out can actually be different. So just with that being said, option one is that we just respect the zone perfectly and push up. Option two is that we slightly overshoot the zone and still respect. So as a professional trader, you got to be able to, understand how to approach these points of interest, right? A point of interest doesn't just mean that it's going to respect it perfectly. You can overshoot a point of interest slightly and still respected by the market, pushing slightly below it and still continuing up. So, maybe this first one happens or maybe the second one happens. And then that's how this initial gold trade will still be somewhat valid, right? And validated. So I'm just curious to see how that works out. Um, Either way, I am going to be bullish on it. I'm not going to take the sell because I don't know where it will originate from. The only thing that I will say this, I know I just said I'm not going to take no sales. The only thing that would make me a little more comfortable is if we do get like some clear consolidation over here, right? Let's say we get like a clear area consolidation, we push above, then we push below. So then we get this, internal break of structure on the lower time frame, and then I could take a sell, all right, with my stop loss above the high whenever it does form. Hasn't formed yet, so I do want to see consolidation, manipulation, okay? So when we get that manipulation spike, if we come back down and break internal lows on a smaller time frame, I feel like it would make a little more sense to take a sell. Even though it would be a little risky with all this bullish momentum. I could see that happen. All right. So I'll cross that bridge when it gets here. All right. EuroCAD, same thing. Um, Looked at some sales here. I thought we could come back a little lower, which actually never happened. So went into profit a little bit, ended up reversing and going bullish. Similar to GCAD, I don't really see anything that I personally want to trade on it because I do see more upside. All right. If we get up to, let's say, 1.474, right? 1.474. This is an area where we could see some distribution take place. The market comes up here, it starts to range a little bit. We could draw our box for consolidation if we get manipulation, followed by a break of structure here. I could see us taking some sales within that area of supply. It could cause the market to give us a little bit of a relief period because the market can't just go in one direction forever. Uh, EuroCAD has been quite bullish for a while, so I am anticipating just a slight relief period for us to be able to, give the buyers a little break, right? Not that it's not bullish long term, but I do feel like, we are due for a little bit of relief. We ended that week extremely bullish. So, I do anticipate bullishness to continue just a little bit. This doesn't necessarily have to happen tonight, but maybe Tuesday or something like that. Maybe for a midweek reversal, we can get that sell off. All right. But that's all I see there. It's kind of too late for me to continue buying, especially the closer we get to these supply zones. I don't want to keep buying, straight into supply. That would be a little reckless. You want to buy sooner rather than later. So as the market approaches this area of supply, that's the less likely I am to continue to buy it, unless I get adequate retracement. All right. So USD CAD, similar concept here. Wanted to sell, market triggered here, gave me one bearish candle, then continued. So, and that's the danger again with trying to take those counter trend opportunities. Again, it's just a lot of momentum. I did end up taking a loss on USD CAD, but overall, now that I do see how bullish the market is, I'm just gonna continue to allow this market to gathering steam. Now we are above a high that was made way back in March, right? March 9th, March 9th, March 10th. So as we, are clearing this high, I can look over to the left. This is the highest point of the year that USD CAD has been. So I will be curious to see if that is something that can cause a sell-off. Again, this is the highest point of the year where we got a nice buy to sell candle that caused a lot of bearishness, right? Dating all the way back to October of 2022. So it's been about a year, a little over a year actually, since that's happened. So as we actually approach that area of supply, that is one reason I could see some bearishness take place. And again, that would be a good thing, not only just for you know, the USD getting weaker because I want GU to go bullish. But that will also potentially give us some setups on GCAD and EuroCAD since, they have been so bullish as of late. So I already told you guys I want to see EuroCAD come up here, potentially sell off. GBP CAD, it is super bullish, but with the potential to sell off on EuroCAD and then the potential for this sell off on USD CAD, I do see dollar weakness in our future. I do see some CAD strength in our future. And that should allow GU and NAS to continue bullish as well as anticipated. All right. So that's it for my favorites. I will just go through a handful of more pairs as well. But if you guys have anything specific that you would like me to take a look at, I'm definitely down to do that. So, I went over my personal favorite pairs, but if you guys have any pairs that you like to trade and stuff like that, go ahead and drop them in the chat. I'll be sure to analyze them for you guys real quick. All right. So, what pairs are you guys looking to trade this week? AUD USD. Okay. Okay. I see. So, AUD CAD, real simple. We got a low that breaks and makes a new high where we break structure right here. So, with that being said, we broke structure. So, I do anticipate some profit taking to take place. We could sell off and return to, 0.8705 or 87. Let's just say 87 solid, right? We come back to 0.87. I do believe that the market will continue. Um, with this market being bearish for so long, I just feel like on the higher time frame, it is going bullish. We did clear this low on the daily chart, right? We cleared that low, dating all the way back to October 22nd, right? And I do just want you to notice like a lot of market direction shifts happen around that October, November range, right? And the reason being is again, because of just the time of year that you're dealing with. This is the time where a lot of market cycles and stuff like that are starting to shift direction. So similarly to that, we see that reversal happen off of that October low. And then that's something that we experiencing again right here. So as we shift direction right there, I do believe that it happened in the past around October to November. I do believe that is again something that's happening again right here between this October to November range. I think we could come back down just based off the higher time frame sweeps of liquidity. We should be expecting a higher time frame, trend just in general. So just with that, I'm not personally gonna sell anything. I want to see this market retrace. Best case scenario, we retrace back down here. And then again, we get back into long opportunities around 0.87. Okay. So AU, I was a little disappointed in myself here because I missed this buy. Had it marked up. You could probably even see this on the last week weekly outlook on YouTube. But I know for a fact we marked this up. And I wasn't paying attention to it, right? I mean, this was better than GU. This was better than a lot of pairs that I did take last week. But with AU not being particularly on my favorites list, I just kind of overlooked it looking at other pairs to trade. But we did take out this major level of support where we had our liquidity grab here. So obviously we got consolidation. That's our manipulation right here. All right. So as the market manipulated these lows, it now gave us this nice reaction, right? I do expect the market to continue bullish because that would coincide with dollar bearishness. So dollar bearishness, AUD strength. I do believe that this market is going to continue to push up from where it currently is. All right. Now, as we come down to the lower time frame, we do see that, I don't think you should buy right here. Right. If we can get down a little bit lower, back into that or where the manipulation originated from, like down here, I think that'll be a great opportunity to buy from. And like I said, this is a weekly outlook. I don't necessarily plan on taking trades right this moment. So again, give the market some time to happen. Like this can happen tomorrow. This can happen Tuesday, Wednesday, might happen Thursday for all we know. There's plenty of weeks where I don't have setups until Thursday. Like this past week, I had to wait till like Thursday just to get in that GU buy, right? So again, you see these setups, and the key to trading is to allow the setups to come to you. You don't want to be somebody that's so anxious to take a trade that, you're taking trades prematurely from when they're actually ready, because it's all about high probability and high probable trade setups. There's going to be trades where you could take 10 trades. There's going to be weeks where you could take 10 trades. There's going to be weeks where you might only take one or two. So just allow the trade to come to you, and, your profitability will be there. Every week you ain't going to have 5-10 wins every week. Some weeks you're going to be scraping to the last day or two to get your first win. So obviously the market is a little distance away. We do have to wait a little bit for the buy at least. Now we can see if there's any sell opportunities on the lower time frame, which I do believe we may have some. As we see here, we did take out highs. We do have a low that leads to new highs right here. So I can mark this up as an area of demand. So as the market reacts off of demand and makes a new low, just based off the 1 minute, I'll be curious to see if we can get some lower time frame selling to take place, right? So I know where I want to buy, but I know the market needs to drop in order for me to buy. So in order for it to drop, I'm just seeing if I can get a potential sell again. All right. I do feel confident in this setup because the lows do look pretty weak, in my opinion. Lows look pretty weak. Lows look pretty weak. So not only do I have a potential sell, but I also have lows that I can target and feel good about. It's not just about do you see a sell or not, but do you have downside liquidity? Do you have any sell side liquidity that you could target? That's another question you got to ask yourself. So yeah, I see this potential sell, but what are the lows doing? Do the lows look strong or do the lows look weak? And now that I see the lows do look pretty weak, if the market can make its way back up here above 6355, right? If we can make our way back above there, I wouldn't feel bad taking that sell at all. All right. I did see a raised hand. So if you want to ask your question, feel free. Can you please elaborate on hezzy concept? I tend to grasp it. Um, what's up, bro? All right, so I just pulled up your chart, Penthouse. I see we both agree on the buys for sure. You got a slightly different sell from me, which is okay. Um, I feel like I think they're both solid setups, to be honest. Um, I'm looking right here. You're looking like above that area. You're looking to get in like up here, which is also cool. Like that's the extreme high, right? So, I mean, that's going to give you the best risk to reward opportunity possible. I can see that. Um, I'm not I'm not closed minded to that at all. And just because I'm looking at it right here doesn't mean that that one is incorrect. It's just that's like a later opportunity. So it's like if I was to take a L here, my next opportunity would probably be that one up there. Just to see if I can make that L back. Either way, the market has to do one or two things in order. Either whether it drops from here or whether it drops from here, we both agree that we got to come back down here before we buy again. So when it comes to me looking for those, sell to buy opportunities, they could play out a few different ways. I'm just, eyeballing this area because I think I can get a reaction from there. But, your zone is valid, most definitely also. So far as the Hezi, I did see a question on that. I thought y'all had the ability to unmute yourself. I must have turned it off. My fault.
Hi, Ray. There's a way you explained the last one was it? There's a way you're trying to put how the hazy works. So I don't have a chart. I don't know. Is it something? Do you see any type of hazy that you can just use it as example, just to elaborate?
And trust me when I tell you this, like I'm not saying this to be rude or whatnot, but I do contain all of the intricate details of the Hezi for my community and for my core students. It is just a formation that I look for. One thing I will tell you is that it's a form of internal range liquidity. So, what I will tell you is that when you have an order block or you have, a sell to buy candle or something like that you're looking to take a trade from, if you don't have internal range liquidity or something like that, I believe that it's less likely to play out in your favor. So the Hezi for me is just where the market hesitates first, and the hesitation is what creates liquidity that acts as fuel for my continuation for whenever the market returns to an order block. So again, just for because obviously this is recorded, and I do have a community that has joined for the intricacies of it. I will just leave it at that. But one thing I will tell you is that it's a form of internal range liquidity for when you're looking at order blocks and buy to sell candles and things of that nature. So if you want to go back through your charts and stuff like that to look at all the differences and how they play out, I feel like that would be real helpful as well. Um,
Okay. Just one last thing. You said about a weak lows, like on the right, the most right one, the one you just pointed out. So when you talk about weak lows, you mean there's no sell side liquidity, right? There's nothing. That's why you call it weak
right.
liquidity.
Yep.
Mm, okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You got it.
Thank you.
No problem. Um, Let me do this real quick. I'm gonna drop the screen share real quick because I only have it shared for my Trading View app. I want y'all to see the setups that I want to see the setups that you guys are sending. Um, well, yeah, I mean that's definitely valid. That's definitely valid. Looking at what you see here, highs are taking, lows appear to be creating. Um, that could be a nice solid point of reversal. And I mean, it pretty much looks exactly like your USD CAD does as well. So, USD CAD, Euro CAD, they all look like they're playing out essentially the same. So, and even the supply zone that you have marked up to take this potential trade from, it is also, clearing liquidity to the left also. So, we definitely have a supply chain that's intact. And until the supply chain breaks, I don't see a need to go against it. So I like that setup a lot, bro. I see that lower time frame when you got two. So I see you over there cooking, man, for sure. We'll go through over a handful of more pairs. I want to do my best just to stick to my favorites. I feel like sometimes when I'm looking at a little too many pairs, it can kind of convolute my thinking process a little bit. But I'll go over a handful of more pairs for you guys, and then we can just call it a day after that. I'm gonna pretty much just stick to GU and Nas 100 this week, or at least I'm gonna do my best to. Obviously, sometimes you end up trading a little bit more, but other than that, I don't really see nothing on USD Chief that I want to take. Obviously, if I was to mark it up the same way that I marked up AUD CAD, I'll just mark up this low right here. However, one thing I will say is like one of those AUD CAD actually took liquidity to the left. AUD CHF did not. So if I had to pick which setup I would take, I just have a little more confirmation to go bullish on AUD CAD than I do CHF. So one thing I like to do is I like to mark up all my pairs, and then I kind of just use a process of elimination to, get rid of the pairs that I don't need to take, and I'll keep the pairs that I do, right? So if I see the pairs that line up nicely, I'll end up taking those. And the ones that I still have questions about or they don't check everything off the list, I'll go ahead and skip those. All right. We got somebody asking for US 30. I'm more of a Nas guy, if I'm being honest. I haven't really traded US 30. I was looking for this low to get taken out. That's what happened. Now at this point, we look over to the left. So we see this supply failed to make a new low, but this demand did make a new high. All right. So just understanding that supply failed to make a new low, but demand did make new highs. So just in my opinion, I do believe that demand will be taking control around this region of the market down here. So as the market comes back down into this area, we see we did just tap into it. I do believe the market will go a little bit lower, specifically to like 32,140 around there. Once the market does get to around that point, this is where I would try to look for some long opportunities. Best case scenario, the market starts to slow down a little bit, starts to range a little bit. So that way, when you do get that, volume increase when on the push down, you could see, the market start to go up. I don't like when it comes to indices, if the market is dropping, you got to understand the difference, right? Like if it's dropping on a 4-hour chart, I'm not going to really take it immediately anyway. But if this happens, say we get like a little push down on a 15-minute, that's like how I like to enter the market, right? So the fact that the market is just dropping on a 4-hour, I'm not going to buy it right away. If it could start consolidating a little bit, going, a little bit sideways, then on the 15-minute, it just shoots down real quick. That's where I'll look to get in as we're taking out that consolidation. So I'm looking for this market to just slow down a little bit first. It is still dropping. I don't, we have time. The market's not just going to shoot up immediately right away. It's going to shoot up a little bit, and it's going to come back down a little bit. It's going to come up, it's going to come back. It should do something like this. And as it's doing that, then I get ready, right? Then I'm actually preparing myself for that, slight push down. By the time this happens, I'm like on a 15-minute chart. And then that's where I'll take my entry opportunities. And we'll have liquidity that's built up here, liquidity that's built up here, liquidity that's built up here. And we got all this internal range liquidity right here that we could target. All right. So I do believe that the market will go bullish. I just want to give it a little time to accumulate first. All right. Yep, yep. Heavy downside. I see that as well. I see that as well. Downside potential on USD CAD.
So when I say that sell to buy play, I'm talking about that most recent supply zone to the right, because you got a small, you got a hezzy, you see highlighted that small buy.
So so just with this, you have your supply marked off properly. You also have your demand marked off properly. Um, I feel like it's just a waiting game right now. And also seeing who's in control is more based off of control at that moment. With this being on the 1 hour, you could probably see this on the 4 hour as well. Um, both can be right and you still be profitable, at least for the time being, because the sell right here is going to break this low, or at least it should, which will mean supply is in pretty good control. Once it reaches this low down here, that could be that reversal point off the higher time frame. I will say GA is probably in more control off of the higher time frame, but even still, um, that just goes back to seeing which side of the market swept more liquidity. So if I just come here, and I see we got like a 95 pip sweep versus a 10 pip sweep. A 95 is clearly larger than the 95 is clearly larger than the 10. So I'm leaning more towards the sell being a retracement and the buy being a continuation, just based off of the strength of which sweep has more power behind it. So that's a solid setup as well. I think you have it marked off properly. Once it gets up there, I feel like there's no reason you can't sell, because I don't look at these as lows that are gonna make higher highs, right? So if I don't believe a low is gonna make a higher high, I'm gonna find another sell somewhere to take out the lows first. And then once I get to a low that I do believe can make a higher high, that's where I'll get into my longer term buys. All right. So I do believe you have that marked off properly. Go back to the chat real quick. Euro JPY. I don't really trade Euro JPY, to be honest. I don't really trade Euro JPY. It's been a little minute. You know, last time I traded it, it didn't really go how I wanted it to. I mean, it's just a lot of sideways noise, if I'm being honest. I mean, I'd probably lean more towards the bullish side just because off of the date. Like, if I'm just looking at, let's say, the daily, right? Just based off the daily, it's clearing lows right here and it's making ugly highs. And here again, it clears lows, it's making questionable highs. I'm gonna just be real though. Like, I can't really tell you for certain. I think it's bullish, but I can't tell you for certain where it's gonna go off of. The safest bet is to just get in on the low somewhere. Because whenever you got like a real long wick like that, there's probably a sell to buy candle somewhere on the lower time frames. But like, I don't even like buying lows like that. I don't want to force no setup for you, bro. But like, I think it's bullish, but I just can't really tell you where to get in right now. Like, it's not presenting the clearest price action for me personally that I like to go off of. So you're gonna have to find some buys somewhere, but like, I can't really tell you based off of what I'm seeing where to get in at. You got some relative equal lows here. May be able to get in underneath there. If this wick wants to hold up, that's a possibility, but there's better pairs out there. I don't know if EJ is just your favorite, but I would personally just go to a different pair. All right. So we got GJ. You've been binge watching the complex hezzy lesson, one of the best videos in the course. Yeah, bro. I mean, it's definitely a deep concept. And it just goes back to like the fractal nature of the markets. It's like you can be right in more than one way, and that's one thing I feel like the complex hezzy, really shows you. It's like I could be right to sell, but I could also be right to buy, tomorrow as well. It just depends where you are in the sell and the buy and where you are in terms of supply and demand being in control at the moment. And this is why you guys hear me, like, I don't harp a lot on trends because I feel like trends are subjective. I'll give you guys a quick example. If this is the trend on the 4-hour chart, if this is the trend on the 4-hour chart, and you got lower time frame structure on those smaller time frames like this, you know, if you're right here, who am I to tell you that you can't sell until it's time to buy again? Or if you're right here, who am I to tell you you can't sell? Because this can be a very valid downtrend on the 15-minute while you're still in an uptrend on the 4-hour. So if you can like understand multi-time frame analysis and understand that patterns are happening within patterns, that complex video is going to definitely do a lot of justice for you. That's why, like, sometimes you'll ask me questions. I'll be like, you're right, but, maybe you're just wrong at the moment, like that's the way trading has a lot of, two-sided opinions like that, trading can be, a paradox at times. So it can have multiple ways to approach things and still be right. I don't really trade UJ. I'm not gonna really take time to mark that up. I don't trade this either. I was hoping for that buy, never got it. So now I'm just kind of off of it. But yeah, I mean, I'm expecting dollar weakness this week. Hopefully, once we start dropping down to fill in this little bit, we could change our analysis. We may make a new low. It just kind of depends. We do have Pezzies on the lower time frame, just slight. So I don't want to I don't want to get too deep into the possibility of us selling long term. Also looking at the difference in the sweeps. You know, our low swept liquidity by, you know, what, 7 pips, and our high swept liquidity by 1 pip. So that just kind of tells me overall who's in control based off the higher time frame. We have a real, and even if I come here, it's actually a little bit more. So we got a 18 pip sweep on the low from this low to this low over here, 18 pip sweep. But then we look over here, we got a 9 pip sweep from this high. And then even within that, we got a 1 pip sweep from these highs right here. So yeah, I mean, the highs are clearly weaker than the lows. So, you know, I do think we'll get bearishness this week, but we'll probably return bullish towards the end of the week or maybe next week on the DXY. All right. But what other pairs y'all want me to take a quick peek at? What other pairs that y'all like me to take a quick peek at? I think it's going to be a good week, but it's not going to be a heavy trading week. I only got like a couple pairs I really want to execute on. If they play out, I'll be in the trades for a little while. Like if I get that Nas buy, I'll probably be in it for a little bit. You know, if GU keeps acting right, I'll be in GU for a little bit. So I'm not going to have to trade too much this week, but we could still come out very, very solid if the few trade setups that I am looking at decide to act right. All right. Very nice, bro. Very nice. Yeah, you did that, bro. You did that. And I'm proud of you, bro. You should be proud of yourself. You should be. Because I've seen the level up just in the past few weeks, honestly. You know, you could tell when somebody's really been studying, you could see it. You see the growth, you see the development. That first tap into supply, it's not always the most trustworthy, especially when you have so much supply left. So you waited for the second tap, or maybe you got it on the first one. Either way, it's okay. But that second tap was really the best entry opportunity. You see that, you know, nice drop off. So yeah, that's a beautiful trade setup, bro. I'm definitely proud of you. I could tell you've been in your bag. This is very obvious when you see somebody that, you know, how they markups just progress over time. You know, you're starting to put less on your charts, but it means more. You know, and I feel like that's a true testament to if you're growing as a trader. When you could put less on your charts, but what you do put there, it means so much more. And sometimes even when I'm teaching, I gotta remember to like, let me annotate this, let me mark this, let me mark that, because it's gonna get to a point to where you don't hardly have to mark up anything, but you just know where you're looking. You just know what to look for and where to look for it. I feel like that shows your true growth as a trader. You know, you don't need a lot. You need a couple lines, couple rectangles, and that's all you really need. But any other setups, guys, that y'all would like for me to take a look at? Looking to go long on GU, long on Nas, long on US 30. I don't trade US 30, but we did take a quick look at it. All right. We did take a quick look at it. Just look for it to consolidate a little bit more, manipulate, then get into that continuation down here at around like 32.1, 3,200, right? Or 32,000, I should say, my bad. You know, look around that area to get into some longs. Got plenty of upside that you can take out on the way up. Nas, Looking for a little bit more bearishness on Nas, and then we should go bullish. All right. Looking for GU to either continue from our initial buys, or even if it comes back to retest that entry, I'll be getting in again for some more GU longs. AUD USD. I missed my initial buy opportunity that I wanted, but it's okay because the market is going to find a way to get back down here. I do believe that once we get up underneath 0.629, just to give you a solid number, I would say 0.629. We get into some re-entry opportunities on the buy side. But overall, I'm just looking for a lot of dollar weakness some way, somehow this week. The dollar will go bullish just for a little bit for these pairs to retrace. But overall, I'm looking for a swing opportunity or a continuation opportunity on dollar weakness. All right. Perfect. So listen, family, not a super long call today, just about an hour, 10 minutes. Just a quick weekly outlook. Usually live trading goes a lot longer than that, but so far as a weekly outlook, wanted to be in and out so you guys could just enjoy the rest of your weekend. I am looking forward to this week as we push closer towards the end of the year. Just make sure you got your goals in alignment. Still a lot that can be accomplished before the end of the year. So, keep pushing, keep progressing, guys. I'm looking forward to, trading with all of you guys this week in the community. We got pre-London tomorrow. We got New York session Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and pre-London Thursday, technical Tuesday evening. So still got a loaded week. Obviously, as price action continues to develop, we may have more setups than we just actually looked at so far today. So we will get a market some time to mature, some time to give us a little bit more price action that could potentially give us some more opportunities. But for now, just really looking at AU, GU, NAS. That's about it. All right. AU, GU, and NAS. Potentially we get that USD CAD and that Euro CAD sale. I do think they look good. But we do have to, just play it and react to it. All right. So that's pretty much all I see for this week. I do appreciate you guys hopping on this call this afternoon and this morning or late at night, depending on where you're calling in from the world. We've got some people from Dubai, the Netherlands, UK, all of that. So I do appreciate all of y'all as well, especially if it's a little later in the evening. I hope you guys have a phenomenal week as well. So I'll see you guys at the top because the bottom is way too crowded. I will be uploading this to YouTube. If you guys want to follow me there, it is Wallstreet_Ray. And you guys can give me a follow on YouTube. I will be uploading this probably within the next 30 minutes to an hour. I just have to allow the video to download and upload. So be sure to check there. If you guys want any information on how to join the community, feel free to reach out to me or the course. And again, I appreciate you guys for hopping on. See you guys on our next call.